think on-chain derivatives or DeFi strategy will lead Bitcoin yield generation?
Again, I think I have a very nuanced hot take over here. If you're looking at the normal person,
Okay.
Bitcoin is an asset which grows 60% over 4 years, every 4 years since it's been live, right?
Yeah.
For the normal user, they're looking at 6-7% yield in the normal world. And for us, it seems like a very small number. Um, Bit so it kind of leads to the question: does Bitcoin even need a yield? Because it's been growing uh, with a certain percentage for so long. But to answer your question again, um, even though I don't think Bitcoin might not need yield generation, it is going to happen, and it has already happened with Lombard Finance, who offer liquid staking Bitcoin. A lot of DeFi work is being done on um, platforms like Stacks or RSX. I think, like, it's not a question of if it'll happen. It's a question of it's already happening, and it's more like what more can happen in the term of Bitcoin yield
Yeah.
generation.
What innovations do you foresee in this Bitcoin yield generation, if we can
Yeah.
call it?
So yeah, sure. It's a bit like a simple and powerful, right? Something we've been very bullish on at Polynomial, and something we're working on, which will be live in the next 1 month, is what we call multi-collateral. So think about the world today. You go to an exchange, you have to have USD to long or buy or sell an asset. Um, what we are going to offer going forward in a month is you can come in with your Bitcoin and you can trade. You can come in with your staked ETH and you can trade. You can come in with your staked Bitcoin and you can trade. What this means is, for the user, the asset that they have is already growing in yield, maybe 6%, 5%, and
Mhm.
Bitcoin itself is also going up in price,
Yeah.
and they can trade with it. Something which really interested us at Polynomial is the fact that a user could come in with a staked Bitcoin, let's say LBTC,
Mhm.
and they could short Bitcoin and collect the funding reward. Essentially, this would mean that any user who has one BTC can come in, short one BTC, collect the Lombard yield, and then collect the funding rate on Bitcoin. Since Bitcoin is a huge asset, funding rate doesn't change a whole lot in a wild fashion. And year on year, you can just collect free yield while staying absolutely delta neutral. Your principal doesn't really lose money.
Yeah, that's really great opportunity. And what do you think on Bitcoin reserve in the US? How you see it help the economy, or it help the crypto space? Like, what's the result of this reserve?
I think in the last 1 month, probably, Bitcoin strategic reserve was the biggest news. Uh, a lot of people were talking about it leading up to the presidential election. A lot of people were hopeful, especially after Bitcoin ETF last year. Uh, Me personally, I'm cautiously optimistic about Bitcoin strategic reserve. It's you kind of get into a different league, right? When something like a US government essentially says this asset that you guys know is digital gold. So there are, like, it's not about the news itself that I am very excited about. It's the downstream effects, right? When your own government recognizes this, the founders from US benefit a lot because they've been legitimized by the government. This also means that if US thinks this is important, other governments will also buy Bitcoin. Other institutions will also have to come in. You can already see countries like Bhutan or El Salvador already have their own reserves. This would also mean that financial institutions would have to have a crypto plan, and that includes every single bank, every single hedge fund that you know, they would have to have something to do with digital assets. All in all, I think that's a move that brings in a lot more adoption than what might seem like like it will bring in today. In terms of governments, things move in cycles of 5 years or 10 years. So today it might not seem like a big news, but over time, the legitimacy and the visibility that it brings is a whole lot.